Abdullah lay flat on the sand for 3 days and nights, not daring to move a muscle, for behind him lay a 100-meter cliff. One slip and it would all be over. He could only dig his fingers deep into the sand, trying to keep his body balanced. The sand was too loose, it couldn't support his weight, and before he could react, his whole body started sliding down. He quickly spread his legs to create more friction, and pressed his face hard against the ground as a brake. His body barely came to a stop. He wanted to call for help, but when he looked up, there wasn't a soul in sight. Then his phone suddenly rang in his backpack. This might be his only chance to get rescued. He quickly adjusted his position and carefully reached for his backpack. Just as his fingers touched the phone, his right hand suddenly slipped. He lost his balance and started plunging toward the cliff again. He grabbed onto a protruding rock with all his strength. His body got stuck at the edge of the cliff. Now he was just inches away from the end. He forced himself to calm down and think of every possible way to save himself. He noticed the churning waves below. A bold idea popped into his head. He started counting, calculating the rhythm of waves hitting the rocks. After several rounds of confirmation, he finally gathered enough courage. Right before the next wave arrived, he jumped. The water cushioned his fall. He survived the jump, but the impact was too strong. His lower back slammed into a reef, and he blacked out. He quickly regained consciousness, and before he could drown, he swam to the nearest rock. He had no time to feel relieved. He coughed up the seawater stuck in his throat and lay there gasping for air. It took a while before he recovered. He struggled to sit up and found a deep gash on his right hand, with the bone exposed. His scalp went numb. He had to pull himself together and focus on getting out of there first. The moment he took a step, a cracking sound came from his lower body. He collapsed hard to the ground and passed out again. He didn't know how long had passed. The tide started coming in. A wave splashed him awake. He tried to stand up, but his legs wouldn't respond. The jump had shattered his pelvis. Only a few toes could still move. Everything else had gone numb. He panicked and started screaming for help, but this area was completely deserted. No matter how loud he screamed, no one could hear. He remembered his phone was still in his backpack. He quickly took off his backpack and pulled open the zipper with his teeth. Fighting through the intense pain in his hand, he pulled out his phone. It was ruined by seawater, completely useless now. He fell into total despair and helplessly looked up at the sky, but he quickly snapped out of it. He couldn't just sit there waiting to perish. Once the water covered this rock, he would have no chance of survival. He struggled to take off his clothes and wrapped up his injured hand. Then he started scanning his surroundings, looking for a way out. The area was nothing but bare rocks. Only a relatively wide sandy area lay not far away. Swimming there might give him a slim chance. He immediately gathered his gear and painfully dragged himself to the edge. He rolled over and dropped into the sea, using only his working left hand. He swam desperately toward the sandy area. Normally this distance would be nothing, but now with his lower body completely paralyzed, he could only swim with one arm. His energy drained twice as fast. Before long, he couldn't hold on anymore. His body sank like a heavy stone, slowly dropping toward the bottom. Suddenly, his wife's image flashed in his mind. She was encouraging him to keep fighting. He was instantly awakened and burst out with amazing strength to reach the surface. He pushed through and made it to shore. He thought he could finally rest when a huge wave suddenly hit, dragging him back into the sea. Survival was right in front of him. He refused to give up. He swam with all his might toward the nearest rock, took off his backpack and swung it hard, hooking one strap onto the rock. He held onto the strap for dear life as the relentless waves kept crashing against him. After what felt like forever, the tide finally receded. Once again, he barely made it out alive. A seagull caught him off guard and pecked off a piece of flesh from his wound. The pain instantly jolted him awake. He waved off the seagull, tore off the strap and fell hard to the ground. He dragged his broken body to an open area on the beach and spent half a day writing a visible distress signal, hoping passing visitors would spot it. But until nightfall, no rescue came. Even worse, he hadn't had water all day. His throat was bone dry. He dug a small hole in the ground, lined it with foil he had found as a container, and prepared to drink his own urine. His pelvis was severely injured. All that came out was a pool of red fluid, impossible to drink. Thunder rumbled over the ocean. A heavy rain was about to come. He quickly lined the hole with all his remaining foil and set a cup he found nearby to catch rain. After finishing, he excitedly opened his mouth wide, ready to enjoy the refreshing rain. The thunder went on for a long time, but only a few drops fell. He picked up the cup. It was completely empty. He picked up the foil from the hole and desperately tried to lick it. Still not a single drop. The crushing disappointment broke him completely. He sat helplessly on the ground and cried for a long time, forced to accept this cruel reality. The next day, a phone ringing woke him up. He followed the sound and soon dug his phone out from the sand. Seeing his parents on the screen, he was overwhelmed with emotion. He told them everything that had happened, begging them to come save him, but the other end just kept talking on its own with no response at all. That's when he realized it was all just a hallucination from severe dehydration. He knew he might not make it through the day, so he said his final goodbye to his family through the phone. Exhausted in body and mind, he lay on the beach, quietly waiting for the end to come. His rotting wounds gave off a decaying smell. Soon a swarm of seagulls gathered on the beach, waiting for him to pass, so they could feast on his remains. A ship appeared faintly on the horizon. He saw hope once again. It might just be another hallucination, but he still refused to give up any chance of rescue. On the other side of the ocean, his wife was still waiting for him to come home. He dragged a broken surfboard he had found and crawled toward the sea. The waves kept pushing him back to shore, but he never thought of giving up. He kept pushing and finally broke through the waves waves, swimming into the deep ocean. He looked around. The sea was empty. There was no ship at all. His face showed no anger. Instead, he became incredibly calm. He slowly closed his eyes, slid off the surfboard, and drifted down toward the endless deep. Suddenly, a ship appeared above. A rescuer jumped into the water and pulled him up barely alive. After emergency treatment, he miraculously woke up. This movie is based on a true story. Ola survived through sheer willpower and never giving up. He was finally rescued. His story teaches us, even in the darkest moments, never give up. Only by holding on to hope can we find a new beginning.